Hey everyone, so today we're going to be working with a beginner scratch project and it's going to be animate with friends. So we're going to have a few different sprites or characters and they're just going to be interacting with each other, telling a little short story. So to get started, I'm going to show you how my story works and then I'll walk you through step by step. So for this one, we're going to do our when flag clicked and we're just going to watch the story. All right. So the story is really simple, perfect for all ages and levels, and it's a great way to build upon your Scratch skills if you have been working on it for a while or if you're new. It's really good for that too. So to get started, you're going to log into your Scratch account. If you don't have an account, that's okay. You can still do this project just on an untitled screen. So once you get that ready, it'll look something like this. And to get started, we're going to go to the right-hand side of our screen. So you're going to see a nice big space with a little cat. And if you go below that, you're going to see the cat again. It's going to be highlighted in blue with a little trash can. So we're going to hit that trash can to delete the cat. And we're going to make a new sprite. So to do that, in that same little box here, we're going to go down to the cat. It's going to say choose a sprite. We're going to head and click that. And for this project, I'm going to start with the crab. So I'm just going to go to the search bar in the upper left-hand corner and type in crab. And then click it. Once you do that, it'll take you back to our coding page and you will see the sprite here and the sprite box on the bottom right hand. From there, we're going to get started coding our crab. So first, we want to make sure that every time our story begins, our crab knows how to start basically and what controls we're going to use to start it. We're going to do when flag clicked. So that nice green flag that I used to start the story at the beginning, that's what we're going to do to start our story this time. So to find that, we're going to go to the left-hand side of our screen. And it's going to be a nice yellow bubble called events. Go ahead and click that. And the very first one, it's going to say when flag clicked. We're going to drag that out onto our workspace. So every time we start, again, it's going to click the flag and it's going to begin our story. Next, we want to shout out our message or broadcast our message to the rest of our characters. And so in that same space of events, we're going to grab broadcast. It's kind of toward the bottom. There we go. And we're going to type in our message. So go ahead and do new message. And this can be whatever you want your welcome message to be. Mine's just going to be welcome to the hiking club. And again, it can be whatever you want. So take a moment, and at any time you want to kind of stop, pause, rewind this video, you totally can. Once you've typed your message, go ahead and hit OK. And so now that it's broadcast, we want to make sure that it's going to be said out loud for everyone else to see. So going back to our coding bubbles on the left-hand side, we're going to go into looks. It's going to be the second one, the purple bubble. And we're going to drag out say hello for 2 seconds. And in that hello, I'm going to open it up, clear out the hello, and I'm going to type in my message. Welcome to the hiking club. And also while we're doing broadcast, because we're going to do a lot of broadcasts during this project, you can shorten your broadcast message. So I'll show you that as we go, so you don't have to type the whole message twice. So just for the first time, I'm just showing you how it works, and then we'll shorten it to make our workspace and our flow a little bit faster, a little bit easier. Okay, for the next coding block in this, we want a wait. So our wait block is going to allow the message to broadcast, and then the crab is going to wait before he responds to a different message. So as we bring in more characters, we'll have more messages and more text coming through. So we want to make sure that they're not all talking at the same time. So to do that, we're going to go ahead to our orange control on the left-hand side, grab out our wait 1 second, and we're going to change that 1 to a 2. Go ahead and hit enter. Perfect. So for our next coding block for the crab, we want to give another message to the rest of our characters. Okay, so we'll work on that as we pull in our other characters. Okay, so going back to our left-hand side coding blocks, we're going to go back to our events, the yellow bubble. And when I receive and it'll say message 1. So we're going to drag that out when I receive message 1. And then we're going to go back and add another wait. Because again, we want it to wait as we receive our messages from our other characters. So we're going to go back to control, grab a wait, and we're going to pull it underneath. And we're going to change that time again to 2 seconds. Good. And then we're going to go to broadcast. So back to our events. Pull out another broadcast, message 1. And then we're going to go back to our say. So back to our purple looks and then our say hello for 2 seconds. So this second block of coding is going to respond to our other characters. So we're not going to fill in our broadcast message and we're not going to fill in our say just yet. We're going to come back to it. So next we're going to add another friend. So we're going to add about 4 characters for this project. So we're going to go ahead and add them one at a time so that we don't get kind of confused and mixed up as we're doing our messages. So as you're ready, let's go back to our sprite selector. It's going to be on the right-hand side. Go down to the little cat and choose a sprite. And for this project, I'm going to do butterfly as my next one. Perfect. And when you have your next sprite selected, we're going to start coding for that. All right, so for this one, our next friends after the crab, they're not going to start when the flag is clicked. They're going to start when they receive messages from the other sprites. So to do that, we're going to go back into our events, our yellow bubble on the left-hand side. We're going to drag out when I receive. And from the drop-down menu, we're going to do welcome to the hiking club. So whatever your first message was from your very first sprite, that's what the next friends are going to receive. And from there, we want it to wait again because they're not all going to talk at the same time. So to grab our wait block, go back to the left side, grab your wait from your control, drag out your 1 second, and we're going to change that 1 to a 3. Good. And then next, we want it to say something back. So we're going to go to our purple looks, grab our say hello for 2 seconds, and type in whatever message you want this character to say back. I'm just going to leave mine at hello. Good. And when you're ready, that's going to be the first block of that sprite. So the next block, we're going to do another when I receive. So going back to your events, when I receive, we're going to leave that message at message 1 for now. We're going to go to broadcast. It should still be in the same events category. Drag out broadcast message 1. We're going to grab a wait. So if you go to the next code block, grab a wait from the control section, and we're going to change that 1 to a 2. So once you have those 3, when I receive message 1, broadcast message 1. And again, we're going to change those as we build our characters. So for now, we're just going to leave it there. And the last block, we're going to have a say. So whatever you want this one to say, let's go to looks, grab our say, and leave it there. And we're going to add that again. We're going to come back to it as we respond. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to add our next sprite. So going back to our sprite selector. And for this one, I'm going to add an elephant. You can add whatever you like. All right, and when you're ready, we're going to start coding for that one. So as you remember from the last one, we started with when I receive. So we're going to do the same thing for this sprite. So going back to your events, we're going to pull out a when I receive. We're going to come from the drop-down menu. Hi, welcome to the hiking club. Perfect. And we're going to have this one go to a specific location. So for my elephant, I chose it to kind of start to exit off the screen as you saw, and it's going to start on the hike. So I want this one to start in a specific spot every time the story starts because it ends in a different spot than where it began. So to do that, I need to set the coordinates of the X and the Y so that I know where my elephant is starting. So we're going to go to our left-hand side of the screen. The very first bubble of motion, we're going to go down till we find the go to X and Y. Perfect. So for this one, I'm going to change my X to negative 158. And I'm going to change my y to negative 113. And so as we add our backdrop, which we're going to do after we add our next sprite, then you can move your coordinates and see where you actually want your characters to be. But because I've done this project, I know where the elephant's going to go. But we're going to play around with it afterwards. It's totally fine. Have fun with it. So for now, after you put those initial coordinates in, or you can just kind of leave it till the end, we're going to have it wait. So it's taking in the message from our very first character. Now it needs to wait until it responds. So you might remember to get our wait, we're going to go to our control, grab our wait 1 second, and we're going to change that 1 to a 5. And we're changing it to a 5 because our second sprite is at a 3. So we want to make sure that that sprite has time to respond with their message before we respond with our message. Okay. And the last thing for this block, we're going to do a say. So go back to your purple bubble on the left-hand side that says looks. Grab your say hello for 2 seconds. You can clear the hello or leave it there. For me, I'm going to change this one. Let's see. Let me see what I want to say. There we go. Can't wait. Okay, perfect. So once you have your message in there, we're going to set up the second code block, just like we did for the other two. So go back to our when I receive. You'll find that in your events. Leave it at message 1. Grab a wait from the control. Next, we'll go grab a say from our looks. And then another wait from our control. And then now this is a new one for this project. We want, at the end, my elephant does move. So I want to make it move from one part of the screen to the other part. And I'm going to use glide for this because glide just makes it seem like he's kind of walking along versus just kind of like popping from one spot to another. So I'm going to grab my glide 1 second to X and Y. And I'm going to change my X to 173. And I'm going to change my Y to negative 119. Okay, so that's set up for them. We're going to add our very last character, and then we're going to add our background, get our friends all set up, and then start adding more messages. Okay, so as you're ready, go back to your sprite selector. And for this last one, I'm going to choose Ladybug. So Ladybug 1. Right now they're all kind of piled on top of each other. Kind of fun. All right. And then we're going to code this, and then we're going to add our background and get them all set up how we want them to look. So as you're ready, once again, we're going to start with when I receive. So go back to your events, left-hand side, yellow bubble. Grab your when I receive message 1. We're going to click down the drop menu to welcome to the hiking club or whatever your first message is. We're going to have them wait. So back to your control, grab a wait. Change that 1 second to 7, because again, we want it to wait for all of the other friends to get their messages out before it speaks. And then we want to broadcast our own message. So let's go back to events, broadcast message 1, and then go back to your looks, say hello for 2 seconds, change your hello. For this one, I wanted to say, where will we go today? Since they are going hiking, I want to make sure that somebody in this friend group is asking where they're going on their hike. So it's going to be the Ladybug. And that is all the code block we're going to do for the Ladybug. So it's super quick, super easy. Once you get that set up, we're going to choose our background. So to find our backgrounds, it's going to be right here on the right-hand side, right next to where we choose our sprite. Just go over to backdrops. It's going to say choose a backdrop. Go ahead and select it. And for this one, I chose outdoors one. So I'm going to scroll through. Mine's kind of like a little park. There we go. The woods. That one's going to be good for me. And so once you get your backdrop selected, go ahead and arrange your characters or your sprites however you want them to be. So I'm just going to start dragging them around until I find a good spot for them to be in. And I also want my crab to kind of be facing inward so that he can see the other friends. And so if you want to change the direction, so right here on the right hand side where your sprites are in the sprite box, you'll see your sprite name, which you can change. You'll see your X and Y, which makes it go up and down, left and right. Your show, whether that sprite is being seen or not, your size, which you can change, as well as the direction. So I'm going to change the direction of my crab. I want him to be pointing in so he can see everyone. Perfect. And I'm going to actually make him a little bit smaller. So I'm going to change the size. There we go. And the butterfly and my ladybug. Okay, so that is how I want everyone arranged. I have the elephant set up to be able to stroll off of stage and start to go on the hike. So he's all ready to go. And now we're going to go back to those second blocks of code for our first 3 characters and make them interact. So going back to the very first one, for me, that would be the crab. And we're going to make him have a message to say back. Okay. So going back to our say hello, we're going to change the hello to a different message. So mine is going to say where we're going on our hike. Because remember, my other character asked, where are we going? So now this is when he's going to respond. So whatever your message is, so take a moment to type in your message. Let's see here. My space bar is doing weird. There we go. All right. Going to the forest of Narnia. That sounds like a really fun place. Okay, perfect. And so to pick up this message and to say it back, we need to know when this is going to happen. So the when I receive message 1, we're going to change that. So for me, where we be going today is going to prompt this message. So let's go back to who asked that. And it was the ladybug. So we're going to go to our broadcast message, new message, and I'm going to type in where. And so this is where I was talking about in the beginning, where you can shorten your broadcast message so that when you go back to type the say, you don't have to type the whole thing. So for me, it's the first word of the next message, which is where. I'm going to type OK. And so that I know that when where is broadcast, it's going to say this. So once you do that, go back to your first character. When I receive where, I will broadcast that message. And so let's change that message to new message. And mine is going to say hour. And I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so just to review that section really quick, when I receive where is coming from my ladybug. I'm going to wait 2 seconds before I respond. And then I will broadcast our first hike will be in the forest of Narnia. Okay, so I need someone else, as my butterfly and elephant are going to respond as well. So now I'm going to jump to them. Let's go to the second one. For me, it's the butterfly. And so when I receive hour, so coming from the crab, when I receive hour, it's receiving that message. It's going to broadcast a message. So my butterfly is very excited. So my message, I'm going to start with I'm very. And then my say, I'm going to change that to I'm very excited. Lots of exclamations because they're very excited. Okay, so again, just review this section because I know it starts to get a little more complicated as we broadcast and receive messages. So when the butterfly receives our hike, so coming from the crab, our hike, it's going to broadcast, I'm very excited. It's going to wait 2 seconds to receive that and then say, I'm very excited. Okay, so take a moment if you need to. Again, pause the video, take a moment to practice this with the other ones. If you're still doing it, you can rewind. And when you're ready, we're going to move on to our third sprite. And for me, that's the elephant. So as you're ready, go to your third sprite. When the elephant receives the next message, which is I'm very, coming from my butterfly, so I'm very excited, it's going to wait 1 second. Actually, we're going to change that 1 second to 3 to give it time to get the other message. And he's going to say, let's go. I can't wait any longer. And again, yours can say whatever you like it to say. And then we're going to have it wait again for 2 seconds. And then that's when my elephant's going to start heading on the hike. And I already put those coordinates in. Okay, perfect. So once you get all that set, then we can go ahead and play our story. So just to review, I'm going to go back to my crab, my very first sprite, and you can check your code to make sure that it's set up like mine. Your messages will probably be different, but we want to make sure the coding blocks are similar. So starting with our when flag clicked, we're going to broadcast our welcome message. We're going to say a welcome message, and we're going to wait. The second block of code, when I receive, we're going to wait 2 seconds, broadcast our next message, and say our next message. Okay, for your second sprite, for mine, it's the butterfly. First block of code, when I receive, it's going to be the welcome message. Wait for 3 seconds, and then say your next message for 2 seconds. The second block of code, when I receive, broadcast their next message. Wait for 2 seconds, and then say your last message for 2 seconds. Okay, elephant is going to be very similar, except we're adding movement. So when I receive, welcome to the club. So all of them, again, should have the when I receive, welcome to the hiking club, or whatever your first message is. All should be the same. Next, we're going to have it go to a position, your starting position. Wait for 5 seconds. Say its first message. The second block of code, when I receive, wait 3 seconds. Say its second message for 2 seconds. Wait for 2 seconds. And then glide off screen. Perfect. And the last one, for me, it's the Ladybug. When I receive, welcome message. Wait for 7 seconds. Broadcast its message. And then say its message. Okay, so now all of the coding part is done. The fun part, let's hit the green flag and watch our story. Perfect. All right. So for a little extra bit of challenge, you can even make your story longer. You can make it as long as you want. Repeating the main code blocks that we use would be our broadcast, wait, say, and when I receive. So you can do that as many times as you want. Make your story as long, as animated, fun, and creative as you'd like. I also encourage you to add different movement to different characters. We added one movement to one character here, but you can do movement to all of them. You can bring in characters at the start of the story. You can bring in additional characters in the middle of the story. You could also have them all leave or change background at the end of the story. Hope you had fun. Thank you.